Junji Ito, a name that many of you might be familiar with. I'm sure you've come across this name at least once. Now, in recent years, you guys have probably heard Junji Ito being called the master of horror manga, and that is within good reason, considering he has gotten a lot of attention for the manga that he has put out and a lot of recognition as well. However, it may surprise you to know that 6 or 7 years back, not many people knew about Junji Ito. And within these short amount of years, he has definitely skyrocketed with the amount of attention that he's been receiving. So what exactly sparked this transformation, this sudden surge of Junji Ito popularity? Now these are the questions and things I want to cover in this video regarding Junji Ito's sudden surge in popularity over the years. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So let's rewind back to 2017, and I found myself browsing the internet trying to find short stories, short manga stories, or complete manga volumes that I can look into or research or collect. And eventually, it didn't take too long, I came across the name Junji Ito, and I had no idea who this man was. Again, this was 2017, so Junji Ito did publish some deluxe volumes in the West here by that time, and I still didn't know about him. So I went to my favorite retailer or online marketplace, seller, whatever, and I went to the search bar, typed in Junji Ito, pressed enter, and I only see 3, maybe 4 volumes that are under his name. 4 volumes, guys. 4 volumes under Junji Ito's name. It's crazy, you know? You can't even imagine that, because if you were to go and type it in now, you would see so many volumes under Junji Ito's names, all the different releases he's had over these years. So setting aside fragments of horror, I feel these 3 are the holy grail of Junji Ito's rise in the Western world. These 3 volumes, in sequential order, were released from the years of 2013 to 2016. Now, I'm strictly speaking in the Western world. I know in Japan he's had a lot of releases before this, and I'm not referring to those. But yeah, guys, in my opinion, these are the 3 main titles that kickstarted Junji Ito's success in America. Now, I do want to point out that this wasn't the first time that Junji Ito had his manga released in America. In fact, in the early 2000s, he did have some of his stories, including Tomie, which were licensed and released by Comics One and Dark Horse Comics. These never really gained any traction, and there was no real impact compared to today. So let's go over some of the reasons why I think Junji Ito has had a bigger impact in this day and age, and how he seems to be growing more, and what could be the possible reasons behind that. So back around 2014 and 2015, there was a small demo released of a video game called Silent Hills, which some of you may even know about, called PT. So the game was supposed to be titled Silent Hills, and it was supposed to come out. It was in production, but it ended up being cancelled. So a common mistake that people made was that some people believed Junji Ito actually had a hand in working on Silent Hills before it got cancelled. I just want to clear this up and say that he actually didn't. He didn't work on Silent Hills or have any affiliation with Silent Hills, but there was a lot of rumors, even I heard about it in articles, that Junji Ito might have some influence. I think this also played a part in a lot more people finding out who Junji Ito is. I want to add on to that and say that the creator of Silent Hills, the director I believe, was Hideo Kojima. So some of you may not know this, but Hideo Kojima is a close friend of Junji Ito. Even on social media, he makes posts about Junji Ito, and there are some pictures of them together. So I think this is another thing that actually played a drastic role in Junji Ito getting more audience, since Hideo Kojima was kind of just promoting him on his social media. So moving on to the second point, which I think is probably one of the biggest points, and that is the anime version of Junji Ito's stories, which is called the Junji Ito Collection. Now, there was a second season which followed in 2023. This, of course, adapted more of Junji Ito's stories. Some of his most famous works, such as Tomie, were included in this collection, and this season was called Junji Ito Maniac, which is kind of a weird name now that I actually think about it. I think having Ito's stories adapted into an anime significantly impacted his audience, because now it wasn't just the manga audience anymore. Now he had anime fans too. and manga fans. And some of those anime fans learned that about his manga, purchased his manga, and started reading his manga instead. So as a whole, I think the anime and manga fans just came together and significantly boosted his numbers. But it's sad to say that these adaptations of Junji Ito's manga into anime form don't really do his manga justice. In fact, there's a lot of criticism from fans and critics alike on how the art style in the anime actually kind of ruins Junji Ito's signature flair. The new animation style doesn't really fit with Junji Ito's signature look. But to fix that, we had an anime announced, which still isn't out to this day, but it was announced back in 2019, which is the Uzumaki adaptation. And this is the way you do it, guys. This looks absolutely stunning. I've never seen any anime done in black and white, and they've done it so well. They've preserved Ito's work. His art style is there. You can just see it. You're practically watching, like literally the manga version, you're watching it being animated before your eyes. Like it's crazy. Like I don't know what to say, and I'm just very sad that it hasn't been released yet. There has been no word. I believe the last update for this anime was quite a bit ago, probably more than a year. And since then it's been radio silence, and yeah, it just hurts me to see that. I'm really hoping they are working on it. It's still, in development. But I do think that the Uzumaki anime being announced was pretty significant, considering that Uzumaki is one of his biggest works. A lot of people know Junji Ito through Uzumaki alone, just that single manga or Tomie. Now moving on to the third reason, which I think is pretty obvious because as the years have gone by, technology has progressed quite a bit. A lot of people now have social media platforms where they share all their information. And of course, Junji Ito is not an exception to this case, as he is fairly active on social media. But it's not just him, but it's a lot of other people that make videos based on Ito, like myself. Crunchyroll has uploaded a lot of videos in regards to Ito and commentaries, interviews. There's also, I believe, a long video, about an hour-long video of Ito drawing. There's some commentary while he draws. He does like a page. I think it was from Layers of Fear, one of his stories. But the point is that in the recent years, like in the past 5 years, I've seen way more videos of Ito coming out. People that are more famous, channels that are more famous, Crunchyroll, Adult Swim, like all these channels, talking about Junji Ito and coming together and publishing all this content about him is pushing it out to even more viewers. And then those viewers learn about Ito and then they make videos. It's just like constant chain, a spiral into madness. So moving on to the next reason, we'll be talking about Junji Ito's collaborations. Not just collaborations in the manga world, but he has also done collaborations with companies that create, clothing, accessories, apparel, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure if you guys go to your local Hot Topic, like if you guys have Hot Topic near you or something, if you go there, you'll definitely see some Junji Ito t-shirts. Rest assured you will. Unless they changed it now. But last time I went, I saw one from Uzumaki, and I also saw a Tomie t-shirt. In regards to the manga world, Junji Ito has collaborated with a few other authors in publishing some books, illustrating them for the most part. He has nothing to do with the actual story components, it's just the illustrations. But some manga I can name off the top of my head is Betwixt, which came out not too long ago, which I believe has some artwork from Junji Ito. I don't know if he did all of it. There's also a volume called Stitches. I think that's more like a light novel though. It's not a full-on manga. It's mostly text, like a novel, with a few pages with artwork that is done by Junji Ito. The whole book is done by Junji Ito, but there's not that much art, guys. It's not like actual manga. Now, although these collaborations are not on a huge scale and they might be much smaller, it's just like a way of Ito to branch out to other categories. People who follow this author might, find out through that collaboration that, oh, hey, Junji Ito, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Now, the last point I want to make for this video is Junji Ito's adaptation on No Longer Human. Now, this is a manga adaptation of a novel that was published by Osamu Dazai. I hope I said his name right. But pretty much the novel narrates Dazai's pretty much accounts on his life and things that he's been through. But again, guys, this is a point that I wanted to mention in this video because No Longer Human is pretty well known, especially in Japanese literature. Since it has so much recognition, I do think that Junji Ito creating his own adaptation on the book had a significant impact on more people finding out about him. even if you're looking for the novel, the possibility that you're going to come across Junji Ito's version is pretty high. So I think this did have a significant impact to some extent to spread more exposure on Junji Ito and more people finding out about him. But that's it from me, guys, for this video, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it and found it entertaining, or maybe you at least learned something new that you didn't know about Junji Ito. But these are the reasons why I think that Junji Ito has become more prominent in the Western world. And if you guys have any ideas, or maybe there's something that I didn't mention that was on your mind, feel free to share that in the comments. Actually, please do. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. But other than that, this is your host, Rich Taku, and I will be signing off.